we said Arsenal have a plan. It's becoming clear. Now, I think they did have a plan. Is it fair to say that plan is just been thrown in the air? It does feel a little bit to me like Arsenal starting from scratch a bit.
Okay. If I'm looking at some of the transfers that have really turned heads in the window, there haven't been that many, right? Some came with noise, some came with links, but some didn't. Manchester United signing Yuri Tielemans with a release clause. I didn't hear anything about that. It happens. Morgan Rogers to Chelsea. I heard nothing about that. There might have been one tweet about a month prior saying that Chelsea might be interested if there's a bidding war or something like that. But after that, it was all Arsenal. Bang, they got it done. So some might say, look, Sheroy, you're being forever the optimist. But I'd like to think that, yes, there's the players that we know about that are being perhaps even fed to the reporters to put it out there. But I would like to think there are certain deals being worked on that we don't know about. And I hope it stays that way until those deals materialise. Look, given the words of Arteta that I don't need to repeat after the Champions League final because we've gone into that in detail, given the words of Josh Kroenke, but also, man, given how long we've waited to be in this position, I struggle to believe that not only do Arsenal not have a plan, but that Arsenal aren't able to execute maybe, I mean, I wouldn't even call it a plan B. I'd say you've got a plan A star and then a plan A maybe. They wouldn't be able to execute a plan A. So no, not for me. The plan hasn't gone. What has gone is people like me and people like you, what we thought might happen and our understanding of what the plan might be, that's gone completely. And we're starting from scratch. But the people who are actually employed, the people who aren't just working 9 to 5 right now, the people who are probably working around the clock right now to get this done, I'm almost certain that they have a plan. And it's just up to us to remain patient and have relative faith that they're going to execute. Looking at the last window, looking at the success of last season and the fact that we're Premier League champions, I know we could keep going back and talk about other windows, but I don't feel the need to do that right now because it's the 20th of July. If in 4 weeks we're sitting here and it's just Solis, Meslier, and who I mean, some absolute joke man signing, and we haven't even let go of the players that we want to let go of, I'll have a very different tone. I'm not one of these guys that will just come here and be positive for the sake of it, right? But I'm not quite there yet to say that we don't have a plan.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah, of course it's fair. I mean, obviously they have a plan, but the reason I ask it is more so, I think everything you said is spot on. I ask it because I think it's just what the host should ask, but at the same time, there's definitely a sense of, okay, Arsenal might have had a plan in terms of the positions they wanted to address and the players they really liked, but did they plan for Tonali being worth 100 million, Anderson 116, Rodgers 117? Because if they didn't plan for Saliba maybe needing surgery, if they didn't plan for Declan Rice and Saka maybe not being fit to start the season, then that does throw things up in the air. And I don't think Arsenal, I feel like we're so meticulous in the market to the point of it slowing us down and really kind of stunting the work we want to do. Look, I try not to cherry pick reports. But there was one from Gary Jacob that said they could have had Morgan Rogers for 100 million a few weeks back. That feels, the fact that Arsenal didn't do that just feels like Arsenal not having a plan. It feels like, but if you're so sure and your value is 85 or 90 or whatever, why didn't you just do it for 10 more? And if Bruno Guimaraes, your value is at 70, but they want 80, 85, why not do just that little bit more? This is football we're talking about. I take it personally when I'm told, well, we have a valuation. Yeah, and like I've said on several pieces of content now, so do I. Football kits aren't worth 120 quid, but I still have to pay that if I want one. So that's the stuff that I can't help but find an itch in my brain where I go, did Arsenal plan for this? Did they? I know we've been a lot better in the market since Arteta came in. There's no question we've been better, for sure. But we're notoriously not great in the market. We always leave a player short. There's always a player that we're a bit confused by, a Madueke, a Havertz, even David Raya, even when they work out, there's always one we're confused by. We're horrible at selling. We have given Arteta one player above £67 million. So while it's been an extraordinary improvement in that direction, when it comes to recruitment. You have to win the Premier League. You have to have recruited magnificently. But we're notoriously not great in the market, mate. And I feel like this is just another window that's highlighting our shortcomings there.
Yeah, and I think just to contextualize it a little bit further, the problem is looking at the transfers that have materialized, or the transfer rumors that are credible. You look at Spurs strengthening quite considerably and spending the sort of money that we could have spent on Morgan Rogers. You look at Man United doing a decent bit of business in midfield. You look at, we were talking about Buadi in January, but now all the links are, well, Manchester City have just gone and slapped down 130 million on Elliot Anderson, and they're pulling away in the race to sign Ayoub Buadi. So it's not just that we're not getting the player that we want. It's that the other options are also getting snapped up. Now, to use another analogy, if you're trying to get on a flight, there's a reason why things are slightly cheaper if you book them in advance. It's because when you wait till the last minute, there are only 2 or 3 seats left, and the airline knows they've got you by the balls. So you end up overpaying, and it's not necessarily the seat that you even wanted, right? That's exactly how the transfer market is going to work if we don't pull our finger out. And that's not the only thing. We're looking at all of the injury news that you discussed. We're looking at Declan Rice flat out on his feet, Saka not fit enough to come on against Argentina in a game that he clearly could have impacted. That leads to a certain lack of a feel-good factor around the club. You're also hearing rumours about, not rumours, but credible reports about big backroom and board change. Every time I log on to X, it does seem like there's someone else from the staff that's leaving, and there's a bit of change, whether it's medical, whether it's whoever it is. I think our financial officer. I think there were all sorts of changes behind. So none of that equates to the level of stability and sort of forthright business with a plan that you would expect from a team that has just won its first Premier League in God knows how long after an incredible wait, has had more people on the streets of London than I've ever seen in my lifetime for that parade. And ultimately has reported record revenue this year. You've got going back to your point about the historic point about Arteta's message and what was happening on the pitch towards the back end of last season. We're looking at the messaging that's coming out of the club and what we expect to happen in consequence. And then we're looking at what's happening in reality. And I think one thing that is actually irking the majority of the fan base is it does appear to be disjointed. Now, a lot of people might say, I haven't been able to keep up with the chat, sorry, because I was sort of focusing on what you were saying, but some people might say, well, you were relatively optimistic a couple of seasons ago in the summer transfer window as well. And what happened deadline day? You were sat there and you were left with Raheem Sterling. I would like to think, because we didn't go on and challenge for the title that year. I would like to think that something like that under this ownership and with this manager is enough to know that it cannot be repeated. And if you ever needed that warning shot, it's you getting gazumped for Morgan Rogers when your manager has sat down with him and thought it was a done deal. And I read something today about the Arsenal players with England sort of launching a charm offensive. Everyone thinks it's done and it's gone. That is exactly what you need to know that it can't happen again. If anything, this Rogers deal has made me more curious as to how this window is going to pan out. It's made because now it's sort of, remember that video you made last year after we lost to Man City? It was like, well, what are you going to do about it now, Arsenal? Are you going to sit here and are you going to let all these people talk all this shit about you? Are you going to basically be the butt of the joke, but credibly be the butt of the joke and prove them right? Or are you going to come out and say, joke's on you, brothers, because we did have a plan, and this is who we bring in, and this is why we're Premier League champions, and Chelsea, this is why we're a bigger club than you. I've not lost faith in that yet. It's too early, but am I able to rule out the prospect that we don't have a very good window, given that we've not even moved people on the way that we'd like so far? Who knows?